Well, why don't you just want to be like as strong as Superman or something?
If you were to high-five somebody, their arm would be a bag of rubble.
Sock 'em boppers, sock 'em boppers.
The
More
commercials.
fun, man.
That's
A pillow
another
fight.
thing in 90. Welcome back to Cut No Corners. I'm Corbin.
And this is Joe.
In today's episode, we are going to be discussing 2020.
And not just the 2020 corona pandemic, but all of 2020 and how we think it's going to affect the future.
Yes, this has been a crazy year for more reasons than just coronavirus. And it's worth discussing because there's going to be a lot of ramifications from several events that have happened. Not all of them are positive, and
Good
we
majority
thought we
are negative. And as always, we're going to be playing a game in the background. Today, we're playing Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Powered Battle Cars, the sequel, more commonly referred to as Rocket League. To give a background on the game, Rocket League recently became a free-to-play game. So if you don't have it and you want to play, 100% free now, similar to the style of Fortnite. So 2020,
Right.
we can start with the biggest elephant on the table, the Ronas.
The Rona is everywhere. You can't turn on
Good goal, Corbin.
your phone. Yeah, I was, I just kind of tapped it. I don't know how. That somehow was
He
mine.
just guided
But,
that one in for you.
Like a heat-seeking missile, my headers are. You can't turn your phone on. You can't turn on, like, Instagram, Facebook, the news.
You can't go
Without
outside.
enter buildings without. Oh my God, that was ridiculous.
Should
Without
have.
being reminded that COVID-19 exists. There have been several ramifications from it. Not all of them are negative. Some are
Yeah.
positive, like cleaner stores and restaurants.
We're going to try to focus on some of the positive things that'll come out of the Ronas. I think enough people have focused on the negative, so we're going to focus on what could be improved based on what we've learned from the coronavirus. One of those things, like Corbin mentioned, cleaner
Oh my
stores.
God.
Restaurants and stores have had to enforce a lot more cleaning restrictions. You've seen it, I'm sure, at your local grocery store. Every customer that comes through the checkout line, they wash and sanitize the belt. Happens to me at Wegmans. It was a lot more prevalent at the beginning
Not
of
everyone knows
Corona.
what Wegmans is.
I know. Wegmans is a grocery store. Originally started in central New York. It has grown.
By the time this video comes out, it will be a worldwide phenomenon.
It should be.
As far as cleanliness in general, it's not just practices for the sake of saying, like, oh, we're abiding by the mandate, but I have not been sick since pre-COVID. I haven't had a common cold. I haven't had a sore throat.
I thought I was going to have an exception to that because I did have a scratchy throat the other week. I took one cough drop and then it went away.
Got it. With all the mask wearing habits and the extra sanitization and more washing of hands, more people in general, and the actual distancing of each other, been making a difference. And the same can be said for my family. None of them have gotten sick either.
Yeah, we've been remarkably healthy since the mask mandate
Oh
has...
my God.
We've been remarkably healthy since the pandemic has started. I have 3 young kids who love to bite, chew, and lick anything they can get their hands on. None of us have been sick since this has started.
Uh-oh. Good save, good save.
Masks are a new phenomenon for the United States. Obviously, other countries, such as Japan, have been using them for years. When they feel the slight bit of sickness, they put on a mask, and nobody has a second
And
glance
it's like
at the...
courteous to do that. But in America,
That guy's wearing a mask. He looks like such a weirdo.
Or you were treated like you were somehow infected.
another positive to come out of this is I think that people in general are communicating with each other way more than before. Yes, people talk, but a lot of the time your face was only in your phone. Like a lot of it, oh my, we're about to be in trouble again. Like now that we've been told to actually separate from each other for a couple months there in quarantine, people are talking with their families more. They're feeling closer, they're bonding more because they realize that type of time is nice tying it up. They're realizing more that type of communication, it's not something to take for granted because it could be interrupted or taken away by some sort of catastrophe.
But when we started the Ronas, it was go quarantine in your house for 2 weeks and we'll all get back to normal. So we started to do that. Everybody goes home and they quarantine for 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into a month turned into 2, and then wear masks all the time. Here we are in October 2020, and at my work, the maximum telework agreement started in March, so we've been out of the office for 6 months now.
My work returned to normal hours the first day of phase 2. Upon returning to work, all the employees had to take their temperatures every day, stuff like that.
Hopefully by the time the election is, we're back to some semblance of normalcy. One of the big takeaways from the Rona pandemic will be more like Japan approach to sickness. We won't give people a second glance when they are wearing the mask. We just accept that they're sick and they're looking out for you. Right, a mask isn't necessarily to protect the wearer, it's to protect
Made that.
the... As Corbin scores in overtime and we win our first match.
And killed a dude.
The mask isn't to protect the wearer as much as it is to protect those who are around the wearer.
On a larger scale from Corona, I feel like businesses in general, the whole business model might change for several establishments. There are so many places that got by or adjusted themselves during the lockdown because if they didn't, they would have gone under. So they cut fat, they became more efficient, they had employees work from home, and after months of doing that and not going under, I feel like a lot of businesses would be saying, hey, we don't actually need to be spending all this overhead on renting
Office space.
property for offices. You can just have employees working from home. There's potentially going to be no more snow days ever again for school.
Yeah, so the schools, a lot of schools have gone to virtual learning. So one of the things that would fall out from not having to go into school every day, why do we need to give kids snow days when we can just have them do work from home and the teachers have the infrastructure to teach at home? So why don't we just offer them to stay at home for that snow day? Then we can shorten school by X number of built-in days a year. Because I'm sure anyone who remembers high school, currently in high school, middle school, any grade of school, you go on a summer break and you come back and how much have you forgotten? How much do you remember? The brain is like any muscle, but once you stop using it, it deteriorates. Why waste those days of out-of-class learning to have them do virtual school? Now there's some drawbacks to that, obviously. Like with any workplace, you'd have to have the infrastructure set up. Now how we do it at my work, when there's expected bad weather, we're told to bring our computers and everything home, and if you don't bring your computer home and there is bad weather where you can't come into work, you have to use your own personal leave. Now there's no ramification like that for somebody from school, except for an unexcused absence.
I don't know, man. I just know if I were a kid in schools today and found out that there was such a thing as snow days for them just to no longer be a thing, I'd be so mad.
But would you be mad knowing that your school year is potentially 2 weeks shorter than it was 5 or so years ago? Because there's schools like down here, we have built-in snow days to our school schedules. When they don't use them, they give them a day off randomly. It'll be like a Thursday of some week. They'll be like, don't come into school tomorrow. So you're still getting the same number of days off, you're just not building in snow days. And it would allow you not to have that downtime where you're not using the brain. I know it's only one day, school day, snow days are only one day, but I remember having to prepare for a test on the next day when I know it's going to snow all night, expecting a snow day, so I can't focus on studying because in my mind it's already a snow day. You never have to have that. Maybe the test gets delayed a day because they don't do a virtual test. You never left wondering, am I going to go to school tomorrow? I think we've delved enough into the Rona ramifications, so...
Well, besides things like, I miss movie theaters and restaurants. I gotta throw that out there. I do miss that.
We haven't been to a restaurant in 6 months. Movies, we haven't gone. We have 3 kids, so we haven't gone to movies in a while anyway.
Not me. Me and my wife, we would go to at least one movie a month. Not that we were like timing it or anything. It just so happened that there was something that we wanted to see that was out. This was a terrible match. There's been things like the stock market. I'm sure that some people have been made out like a bandit this year. Like those who had any stocks in N95 or masks, desks. Also, for some reason, the housing market. Amazon, oh my god, huge bump in Amazon. Toilet paper for some reason in the beginning there. Yeah, the year has also had other events like Murder Hornet.
Which didn't come to fruition. I thought they were going to be the end-all be-all of the Rona. We were going to be like, that was cool, but did you hear about those Murder Hornets?
Yeah, that was like quite the headline. Wildfires,
Yeah.
that's been a big thing this year too. Not just in Australia, which was the beginning of the year. Like the entire oh my god, our own teammate. Ooh.
California's on fire.
Yeah, Oregon.
And the zombie fires.
I did not hear about that. What's that?
Yeah, the zombie fires. They're fires down in the Arctic, and they occur when a fire is burning from the previous year, and it smolders in the organic matter that's underground, and then when it warms up after the thaw, they reignite and they start burning the next year.
What?
So they just smolder under the ice for the whole winter, and then come out, just reignite themselves.
Their goalie never leaves ever. I mean, this guy's house could be on fire, and his wife is telling him to grab the baby and the photo albums and the firebox.
One more save.
Is like, I gotta stay at the goalie position. Jesus.
Boom! Beat him.
Finally.
The zombie fires in the Arctic from January to August have released 224 megatons of CO2.
Holy.
Just put that in perspective.
That's a lot.
There's some other ramifications that have come about in 2020. One that's not so important, but it affects me, is a good majority of the sports seasons have either been truncated or the schedules have changed to make them end at different times. So, again, it's October of 2020. Wow, we got
Did you
lucky.
see that?
I thought that was going to end right there, too.
Yeah.
So it's October of 2020, and the NHL season just ended, and the NBA finals are still going on.
Oh my god.
Those seasons normally start in October, but obviously if their seasons are just ending, oh, I scored!
Yeah,
like
you
5
did.
minutes ago. Boom!
That was again, they did it themselves. That was the goalie, the one that never left his post. He left.
So the NHL season just ended. The NBA season just ended. Those seasons usually start in October. NFL hasn't been affected. There have been some game movements because of people who have been diagnosed with corona. MLB had to shorten their season by over 100 games. They're going to finish about where they usually finish.
How do you feel about the cardboard crowds that they've been using?
My favorite one was Denver. Did you see that one? Where Denver put the entire...
The South Park.
That one
I
was
actually
hilarious.
spent like 5 minutes looking at that. They have, as far as I can tell, almost every character. They even have dead characters like Edgar Allan Poe in there.
And they did they put them in the proper, put all the goths together and they put all the proper groups together.
I mean, being Denver, I'm not shocked that they're big fans of the show. They've had episodes featuring Denver, Colorado in the South Park series.
Yeah, I don't mind the cardboard cutout fans. The thing that most annoys me about the games is the pumped-in audio. I do not like
Fake crowds cheering,
I hate fake crowd noise. I don't need simulated
laugh tracks in a sitcom.
cheering. Have you ever watched Big Bang Theory or something like that without the laugh track?
No, but I can picture it now.
It is so awkward. You can go watch YouTube videos of it. It's so awkward. They're like, funny joke. Next line. It's like, what?
And they just sit there and pause for like 5
Yeah.
minutes. Well, it's not even usually. I mean, there are so many jokes that don't land on that series, or at least in the later seasons. I stopped watching after the first few. Wait, am I hitting this on our own goal? Fudge! We're not.
We're orange. Wait.
We're blue. See, you didn't know. We've been orange this whole time. I just hit it. I just hit it on ourselves. There we go. I made up for it.
I kind of helped you there.
Yeah,
but-
you did. Oh, it doesn't really matter to me because we've probably come to know this if anybody actually sticks with these videos. I'm not a huge sports watcher. I don't even know all the rules to most sports. Like football, I could not tell you half the rules. Like I vaguely know how many points a touchdown is.
The ramifications for the sports seasons not ending in the same places they usually do is that they can't start in the same places they usually do. So 2020 will not only affect the 2020 season of hockey, of basketball, it will affect the 2021 season and potentially even the 2022 season.
There's a setup.
I'm nowhere near it.
Woo!
Good God. So likely we'll be feeling the ramifications of 2020 for years to come, not only in our public health, but also our entertainment industries.
Oh,
Plenty
yeah.
of shows are starting to do mask things. You've seen tons of commercials where people wear masks. There's
Yeah.
Disney commercials where people wear masks.
I have not seen all of that yet, but it has been strange to watch older movies because we've stayed in, binge watch older movies. It's like, wow, look at these crowds with no masks, so unhealthy.
Yeah, that's my wife and I are constantly like, well, I wish you can't do that anymore. Deal. Yeah, shows are starting to do it. I think Grey's Anatomy, they're doing a whole season where the hospital, everybody has masks. And I'm not trying to downplay that, like, right? We want to have public awareness that masks aren't a bad thing. But we're
Hate it.
6 months into this whole thing, and I still forget my mask when I leave the house.
Oh yeah, we get tons of customers in our business that get right to the door, like, and they turn around and go back to the cars and come back 30 seconds later.
So hopefully that gave you a little bit of how we feel about 2020. We'd like to hear your thoughts. Hopefully you're commenting on this. We're out of quarantine. Maybe
Yeah.
you want to know what it was like to live in 2020. It wasn't
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, there's most likely gonna be some movie about this year in general. I mean, there's so many things that happened that we didn't even touch on, like Kobe's death or Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death. It's just been a really strange year for everybody all over the globe, not just America. If you're commenting from anywhere outside of America, let us know how your country dealt with it. I'm sure faster and more efficiently than we have. Or if you're, in America, let us know what type of experiences you've had with COVID or 2020 in general. What's the positives that came this year for you?
Let us know what had the biggest impact on you in 2020. Corona aside, we'll assume that a majority of people's input is going to be Corona.
Yeah.
But anything else that affected you that you want us to know about.
Till next time, this is Corbin.
And this is Joe.
Cut no corners. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.